Hi, it's me from the future or the present. I don't know where I'm at, honestly. Hey, I recently had a guy jump into my stream, very new to the game, only 10 hours in, and I took the time to explain some very basic parts of the game. This is a very basic tutorial, very basic explanation of some specific parts of the game and how they work. I hope you enjoy, and I hope you found it helpful. If you want more, just like, subscribe, maybe go to Twitch, give me a follow, maybe a subscribe. Hey, what's up, Dweller Ring? 216 days. All right. Everybody, almost, unless you played the previous Hearts of Iron games, which even I didn't, 10 hours in, you're still going to be lost. There's a learning curve to this game. It's not a steep learning curve, but it does take time. Come up here to the tank symbol. Yeah. And then you click train. Like, I have... Let me collapse these. So, click train, and it pops it over here. And then if you want to train more than one, click add unit, and you can add as many as you want. This column... Oh, shit. My stupid face is in the way. But, okay. Alley-oop. Nope, not that one. Okay, it's fine. Everything's fine. Please. Let's go over here. There's nothing on this side. Except, you know, chat. Fine. It's fine. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. When you... Okay, so... You click train, which puts it in a queue over here. Then you can train as many as you want. But if you see this crate thing right here, because this is all green, that means I have a 100% of the equipment to actually train that unit. So it can start training immediately. If this is yellow or like not full at all, you have to wait until you stockpile enough equipment to train them. Yeah, I mean, I would if you haven't done it yet, I would definitely recommend the tutorial. But like training troops, like, you know, you got your base screen here. The tank is recruit and deploy. Okay, so we come down. So if we go into the recruit and deploy tab, okay, you can, and I have units training right here. If you hover over the crate on the unit that you're training, it shows you the exact number, the exact manpower. What's up, Donut? It shows you the exact manpower that they need, how much infantry equipment. So one of these division which is just the base, one of the basic Kaiserreich French divisions. You need 9,300 total manpower, which your manpower is right here. You need 900 guns stockpiled. I need 900 guns stockpiled, and I need 12 artillery for each unit. Now, there's two different ways you can see how much equipment you have stockpiled. One way is you come over here to logistics tab right here next to recruit and deploy. You click this, and this will show you all of your equipment right here. And this last column right here, this last column right here is how much you have stored. So on infantry equipment, I have 15,000 in storage. So I'm good on training right now. This, you don't necessarily have to worry about this. This is just a balance column, like production versus losses. This mostly has to do when you're when you're in combat or whatever. The other way to look at your stockpile is you go over here to production tab, right here next to recruit and deploy. You open it up, and in your production, right here, under every single item you're producing, it'll show you how much you have stockpiled. Or how much your deficit is. If it's a deficit, it'll look like this, where it's a red cross with a green circle around it, and it'll tell you how much that is. I mean, you're welcome. It's definitely not super intuitive. But also, as far as Paradox games go, Hearts of Iron is the easiest to understand. Once you get into like games like EU4 and Vicky and Crusader Kings, it's like a different level of complex. But like I said, there is a learning curve, but luckily it's not steep. The easiest way to get a handle on the basics is I would like I said, I would still recommend the tutorials if you haven't done them, and B, just play Germany for like a good number of games. Germany, especially right now because they haven't changed the focus tree at all, is a really, really good nation to learn on because they're not weak, so you don't have to like min-max anything. They start with good production. They start with a decent-sized army, and they don't have some of the more complicated mechanics that some of the nations have gotten updates for. They're still pretty basic and really good to learn on. Okay, so we're just going to focus on guns right now for this. So this infantry equipment 1 takes 2 for every 1 factor you have on it. It takes 2 steel to produce. So, and if you look up here, I have 472 steel available. So if I put on another factory, that's 4 steel all the way up to my max there. So if you're getting a yellow bar like I have down here on artillery, it's because you're lacking a resource. Like me, I don't have any tungsten. So I have this yellow bar. Now, that doesn't mean you're not going to produce anything most of the time unless you're at an extreme deficit. If you're at an extreme deficit, yeah, you may not produce any. But right now, because I lack tungsten, I'm just producing them not as efficiently as I could. Mm-hmm. I would, from your description, I would assume you're lacking steel too. So, like every nation has their own kind of like starting, but like strategy. But for major nations, especially Germany, Russia, like bigger nations, a small rule of thumb is you want to build civilian factories until beginning to mid 19 or you want to build civilian factories through 1937, and then you want to start building military factories. No. So, unless you're playing a mod, yeah, Kaiserreich doesn't have it. There's a mod, and unless you're playing a mod called Road to 56, that lets you build steel factories. The ways to get steel, so I'm going to come down here and I'm going to click the resources map. So Estonia has 5 steel. To increase that steel, you either have to find focuses in your focus tree. Some focuses will give you resources as you do them. Or you conquer. Or another way, and this is not really... This way isn't necessarily recommended just because it takes you away from factory production and refinery production, stuff like that. But, okay, let's go back over to France. So this province right here has 55 steel, but it only has an infrastructure level of 3. If I max out the infrastructure on that, it'll give me an additional 8 steel. I would not recommend trying to do that for Estonia, because your economy is not necessarily strong enough to support it. You're better off doing other things with your civilian factories. Civilian factories. So right next to the production tab, you have the construction tab. I mean, you built military factories, but right here, you see this 15 out of 15. 10 out of 15. So I have 15 civilian factories going to building more civilian factories. That means that's the maximum speed that it can be built. Right now, at 10 factories, you could say that it's only going to be built at 66% of the speed that it could be built. And you can build like everything over here is built with civilian factories. The more civilian factories you have, depending on building slots. So if I come here, this province has 6 building slots. This province has 10. You can increase building slots through technology. Yeah, like I said, there is a learning curve, but it's one of those things that once you get the basics down, the rest of it like really becomes second nature, and it takes over your life, as evident by the 1,500 hours I'm approaching. And even for super hardcore Hoi players, that's slow. What YouTubers are you watching? Because I know there's a YouTuber, Alex the Rambler, super chill guy. He has I think he has a couple of basic tutorial videos. They're definitely Germany focused. He plays as Germany in the one I know, but he kind of he doesn't go super in depth, but he gives a short explanation of what to do, why he's doing it, and like et cetera, et cetera. It's a pretty good basic tutorial video. As far as basics go, I would here. Me. Oh yeah, I forgot. Mussolini's granddaughter was a J-pop star. Hoi.
Konnichiwa, fellow otaku.
Tutorial. So, this video's a year ago. It's an hour long. He goes decently in depth. The channel it's called Alex the Rambler here.
to a Hearts of Iron 4 tutorial in 2021. Or should I say, yeah boy, no. It's yeah man, Alex the Rambler, and today we're returning to Hearts of Iron 4. But
musical
as I said,
axis,
this will
don't
be
I?
a tutorial video, so many of you have asked me to do this.
So he's a good player. He's not a super min-maxy micro player. He just plays for fun. But this is
you can research. They're all different icons. So green is for military, naval is blue. Red is for air. And then
I would
orange
say
is for industry.
As far as explaining the basics of Hoi, this is a really good video. It's Alex the Rambler, Hearts of Iron 4 tutorial 2021. No, does feedback have a tutorial? So, if you want something super long form, oh, here we go. So, this one's a year ago. This is another really good guy. These two guys, Bitter Steel, and Feedback Gaming, they're both like really good exploity min-max Hearts of Iron players. But Bitter Steel is really, really good. Like, he's really good at micromanaging everything. Another video, it's a year old, an hour and 20 minutes, basic tutorial. If you want to go super long form with it, feedback. Now, this is going to be out of date for for a lot of the mechanics that Paradox has introduced. But yeah, like Feedback Gaming has a almost 6-hour tutorial. It's if I remember right, this is an every single click tutorial. He basically explains every single click that he does and why. Yeah, but he makes up for it when he has the mustache. Okay. Once you start getting into editing divisions, trying to get a specific combat width, you're starting to get into much more I would say editing divisions is like mid-level, depending on how hard you get to it. It can be kind of advanced, like mid-level to advanced. So every few months, that one guy, Feedback Gaming, he will do a combat width video, because you have super autistes in the community who are just constantly trying to find out what the most efficient combat width is. So he will test it. He will explain it. Feedback Gaming is a very... If you like small, kind of behind-the-scenes details of Hearts of Iron, Feedback Gaming is really good. I think, yeah. So 15 to 17 is okay for a small division. 10 is kind of okay for a small division. And then you have like 23 and 27, and then it goes up to like 42 and 45. But as far as combat width divisions, manipulating combat widths and divisions and stuff like that, my honest advice, just because you said you're having trouble just understanding the basic gameplay. Like, if you haven't played yet, I keep saying play Germany. I sound like a broken record, but it is true. Germany is probably the best starting country to play as. And I mean, to be honest, I played nothing but Germany for like 4 months straight. This was before I was streaming. Well, kind of, because I've had like intermittent periods of streaming, but I just played Germany over and over and over again because I was recovering from getting shot in the hand or shooting myself in the hand. But anyway, and I wouldn't worry about changing your division template until you think you have a serious handle on the basics. Not like an intermediate serious handle on the basics. So a small division, we're gonna go back up here. So, oopsie. Go into recruit and deploy. Come over here to edit. So, you hit edit. Right now, you see right here, this says 18 combat width. This is a very average division. Come down here. This one is 12 combat width. So, and this is what is considered a small division. You can go even smaller, like you get into like military police kind of units to combat or to secure your occupied land. And it's like there's different mechanics. Don't lie to the man, Donut. Okay, so when you say you had 42 combat width on, that means that one of these, that you came into the division designer on one of your divisions, clicked edit, or created a new one, and it was 42 combat width right here. Or do you mean you trained 42 divisions? It won't show combat width on the map. That part said 42 combat width. So, let's say this division right here, I'm going to change this icon to this unicorn for no reason, because horses are pretty. Anywho, just to make it easier to understand. So, this division you made 42 combat width. So, if you did that and you had any units in the field, like let's see here, like these are the same divisions. They're the unicorn divisions I just showed. If they were in the field and you changed their template to be 42 combat width, then these units automatically change to 42 combat width. If you created a new division from scratch, like go up here to create empty and you then you would have to train that division and put it in your training queue. And then you hit deployment location once it's fully trained, like say here, and that would put your division on the field. So it's not actually going to tell you the combat width of a division. Like, you can actually, no, it does. You hover over a unit here, or not.
Attention.
Maybe I'm just fucking retarded. Okay, yeah. So on it won't actually say a division's combat width on the map. To see it, if you just kind of have to know what your division combat widths are. If you want to see a specific division's combat width, you come over here and you hit edit and you look at their combat width. So, no. So, whenever you produce equipment, it just goes into a general stockpile. You don't have to worry about sending it a specific place. There are mods that get into that depth of detail, but we're not talking about that. All military factories do is make equipment. Training your divisions, you just hit recruit and deploy. Then you hit train, and it automatically puts the division you hit train in your recruit queue, and then you click on a location. So you hit see this says no location set, so you click on it, and everywhere that's striped green is where you can set that division to spawn once it's done training. So I just set it to deploy in Besancon. So again, we come down here and we look at the equipment. I have all the equipment needed to train that division. This is the training. So you can see it says 0 to 100%. You can just auto do it and they will auto deploy once they hit 100%. But if you're desperate for troops at 20%, if you're micromanaging this, once it hits 20%, you can hit this deploy button and it will automatically deploy them. They will be undertrained. They're not going to be as effective, but they will be bodies on the front line. Consider it what the Soviet Union did during Zavol. The troops will spawn once they hit, will spawn automatically if you've selected a province for them once they hit 100%. You can pre-deploy them before then if you need to, but if you don't need to, I wouldn't worry about it. So, we're going to go over here. Fully equipped, train. Come over here. So, we hover over training. So, if training is complete, this unit will gain enough experience to be deployed as level 2, trained, which means they don't have any negative or positive debuffs in battle. Current combat modifier of 0%. If this unit is fully equipped, training will be finished on 2nd of January 1938. In game, it is currently 4 September 37. So, it will take approximately, September to October, October to November, November to December, December to January. It'll take approximately 4 months for this one fully equipped unit to get trained 100% and deploy.
Écoutez.
The larger division is, the bigger its combat width. So that was for my 18 combat width unit. The larger division is, the bigger its combat width, the longer it takes to train that division. And if you can see right now, what I'm doing is I'm building a new tank. Not a good tank, just a new one. Well, I could probably wait. I need to get tanks in production. So that's a totally separate kind of lesson plan. There is a limit to how many factories you can build. The limit to the number of factories you can build. So I'm going to go to the construction tab and I'm going to click on something to construct. I'm going to click on, say, a civilian factory to construct it. So you see these numbers in the boxes. 7 out of 11, 1 out of 7. Those are your building slots in those provinces. So I can only put 6 more buildings in this slot. Now, when I say 6 more buildings, I mean these shared buildings. This section right here. There are other limits. Some of them have specific limitations, but like say, I can. Laval, France requires unity. Get off the fence and pick a side. That's right. See, so see +6. That means I started constructing 6 factories in there. That's what I was waiting on. No. Not yet. You can, but for me personally, like, I like to pick and choose. Like, see, this is just my production queue right now, versus all this, because I build a batch and then I see kind of where I'm at production-wise and what I need for the future, and then I build another batch. And then I do the same. I do the same thing. I kind of yo-yo my construction production, where I'll build a batch, see what I need for the future, then I'll build another batch. So you kind of want to stay in this area of being flexible, because if you just immediately fill up all of your building slots in your entire country, it becomes much harder to become flexible if you need to start building something else. At least that's how I look at it. Land lease. So, if a country is at war, I don't even think they have to be at war. But anyway, we're going to start at war. So, click on the country. You come up here to diplomacy. You come down. This is your diplomacy tab for that specific country. You come down here in the list and you click Start Lend Lease. So this is for this tab right here is infantry equipment and artillery equipment. So what I just did was, so I'm gonna do an unlock 1,000 guns. So because I have this selected, I'm going to be sending them 1,000 rifles a month. So that we'll get to that. So I'm going to send them 1,000 rifles a month. Now, because we share a land border right here, it's fine. If you don't share a land border with a country you're trying to lend lease, up here it'll tell you how many convoys are needed for this. So, and your convoy stockpile is right here. So, click send. So, every month, I'm going to send them 1,000 rifles. See, they accepted our lend lease. And when you do that, not only do you help in their civil war, but you also get army experience to use for yourself. I am sending stuff to the anarchists. So that's lend lease. That's very basic lend lease. Volunteers is basically the same thing. Click on the country, diplomacy tab. Okay, I gotta hit play because you can only do so many diplomatic. You can only do certain diplomatic actions. Then you have to wait a certain number of days before you can do any more. But you click on the diplomacy tab. You come down here, send volunteers. So you have to click an army. And the really stupid thing that I wish Paradox would fix is, so if you read down here, I have a maximum total number of volunteers that I can send and help them as 2. So you have to have an army with only specifically 2 divisions assigned to it. Like this is an army. Say, you would click it from here. I can't send this.
Écoutez,
Give me a second.
écoutez.
I hate you, Paradox. You are the dealer of my sickness. Anyway, I click this army, right? So I'm going to. It says I'm going to send 2 divisions, but always make sure you click send air volunteers. That lets you send planes to help out, and that's what. And when you do that, you set them down, give your planes orders. You're going to collect air experience, which is very helpful. So then you click send. Now, if you hover, will allow. They accepted our volunteers. So it takes a couple of days, like a couple of weeks, for your volunteers to show up. So you do have to wait a minute. So go back up. Okay. So trading. So come over here. It's right next to the construction tab. You have the trade tab. You click on it. Now, as you can, so from here, you can see I have a surplus of 2 oil, over 300 aluminum. I have a deficit of 4 rubber, 2 tungsten, 2 chromosomes. Now, to get rubber, you're going to click on rubber. All you have to do, you can either click it up here or you can click it along here. This shows you the total amount of that resource that a country has. Now, as you can see, these grayed out ones are ones you can't trade with for whatever reason. You might be embargoed. Like here, it says my trade influence is too low, so it won't let me trade with them. So, you click on a country. Oh no, break of anarchy. We didn't want this. Anyway, you click on a country you can trade with, say the Dutch East Indies, and it'll bring up this tab. Now, hey, okay, my volunteers got there. We'll get there in a second. Come to this, it pops up this window. So, you can buy, so you trade civilian factories for resources. So for 8 resources, I'm going to it's going to cost me 1 civilian factory. That's all that I need. If you need more than that, all you have to do is click this button and it will automatically set however much you need or whatever. And a lot of trades require convoys. This one does not require any convoys. So I click send. And I now have a surplus of 3 rubber. No, it's not trade experience. It's trade influence. So, as you can see, our trade influence with, let's just go to the German Empire. This is much easier. Germany is minus 233, a base of 100, which is like even. Distance minus 3, relation. So, we have a bad relationship with the German Empire. They don't like us, so they won't trade us. So they won't trade to us. You can increase your trade influence in base game by picking different ministers and stuff like that. But in Kaiserreich, it's different. Now, my volunteers have arrived. So, I mean, you can just micromanage them. You can give them an order. You kind of want to give them an order and set an offensive line, just because there is something called a planning bonus, which basically it's just a small bonus. It's not a lot. You get convoys. Come over here to the production tab, click. If you're not already building them, you click build ships, and you come over here to convoys. And basically, it's just like producing rifles. You have to assign as many dockyards as you want to them. Unless you are desperate for convoys, don't ever max them out, because it's a waste of a dockyard. I normally, unless I absolutely need convoys, I usually try and stick somewhere between 1 and 3 dockyards, usually 1 to 2. So executing a spy, you don't actually manually execute spies. So if you click on the intelligence tab, these are my spies. Say I put a spy in Switzerland. There's always a chance of them being discovered and captured, and if you don't rescue them in a certain amount of time, they get executed as spies, because, you know, espionage. That's basically what that is. If you capture a spy, you're just gonna, like, it's just an automatic process. You can't speed up executing foreign spies, but you can recapture or free your own spy if you have another spy to use. Okay, and to the last point, empty tanks and cars. So that can mean 2 different things. So, number one thing, it could mean they weren't full strength. They were attritioning. They were losing strength because you didn't have enough equipment. If a unit doesn't have the necessary equipment, so if you come down here, you see organization and average strength. If they don't have all the equipment they want, this yellow bar here is going to be lower and lower, and their average strength is going to go down because they don't have the equipment that they need. The other thing it could mean is anything with a motor. Tank, a truck, APC, planes, boats, except for convoys. Convoys don't require it. They require fuel, and that's this tab right here. Well, I have 0 fuel right now because I've been training for 100 different years. Anything with a motor requires fuel to use. So if this number is 0, your tanks, your cars, your tanks, your planes, your boats are either not going to move at all, or they're going to move very slowly, and they're not going to be as effective as they need to be. So fuel is just like any other resource. Like, see, I have fuel is made from oil. So I don't know the exact ratio. So I have, what do I have here? So it says, so I have 4 oil. I have a daily gain of 154. I get 105 from just 2 oil. So it also tells you the different breakdown for your armies. So because I have nothing moving, I have no tanks, I have no planes, I have no trucks moving, my daily consumption is 0. My maximum daily consumption is 11,500. And it will break down individually for Army, Air, and Navy. Your current consumption and your maximum consumption. You can increase your oil. Come over here to the construction tab. If you've researched synthetic refineries. So you can build synthetic refineries. They're kind of expensive, but they can be worth it. That will increase your oil and your fuel. Oh, I skipped the annex part. So in base game, Germany has a focus tree called the Anschluss. Basically, it's a gimme for fascist Germany that you go down your focus tree, you get enough manpower, and you do the Anschluss, and you just automatically absorb them, and they become a part of your country. Basically, yes to your entire question. So, if you have territory, right? I don't have any occupied territories, so I can't really show you. But you would. So, this is your screen. Come over here and you click on your flag. You come down here to occupied territories. That'll open up, like, see, technically, I do occupy part of Belgium right here, but I guess it's like cord. Or maybe that's not, maybe Netherlands has extra shit. I don't know. But anyway, come over here, you click on occupied territories, and that shows you all of your occupied territory. Like, say, if I owned this part of Germany, right? You have a couple of different options. You can release it as free. You can release it as a puppet. And sometimes you can release it and give it back to its owner if they exist.